from Silver Spring, Maryland. This is Global Affairs Network. Tonight, another special guest, Mr. Sherman Hardy, a Miami, Florida native who actually moved from Florida to Prince George County in 2012. He has been a progressive thinker. He has served in the uh, United States Air Force and continued to serve as a Prince George County as a business professional and a champion of social and economics, criminal justice advocate. Uh, his work and positive effects on change provides, solution to justice. Sherman serves as a board director for Prince George County Association of Realtor, one of the largest trade association in the state of Maryland. His functions as he functioned in a role as a member of legislative committee where it tirelessly advocates policies that bring about affordable ownership, home ownership, and protection of property rights. He also served as a member of a housing opportunity as all work groups that makes recommendation for a 10-year plan for affordable housing in Prince George County. A graduate of American Military University, AMU, with a bachelor degree in emergency and disaster management, Sherman has always had a sense of public and civil service. He is committed to engagement and engaging community in government in a dialogue about how to create viable solution for issues that our communities face. So this young man is with us tonight. That is coming up right now. Welcome, my brother, Mr. Sherman.
Hey,
Welcome to the show. You heard me trying to read through your extensive bio. There's nobody that can give us a perfect view or understanding of the complexity of the man that you are. You actually came from Florida up here in Maryland, Prince George County. Why Prince George County? Do you have
you know,
family there?
you know, I actually looked up on Prince George's County, and I count that as a blessing. When I was getting ready to move here, I was trying to determine exactly if I wanted to live in Virginia or if I wanted to live in Maryland. And I checked out a couple of places in Virginia, and it just didn't speak to me. So when I crossed over the bridge and I got into Prince George's, at the time I didn't know it was gorgeous Prince George's, but I looked around and it felt like home, and I decided that this was the place that I wanted to spend, the rest of my life.
Wonderful. So your background as the Air Force, you being in the
Mhm.
Air Force, does that give you the ability to move from one place to another? Because a lot of the young folks don't just move unless you go on for college or something like that. You just don't move for the sake of a better place or new place. Is that you think your military background helped you a little bit to be able to think about, hey, I'm moving from here to a different place?
Well, my military background certainly enabled me to be more fluid and adaptable to any kind of situation. So I was kind of, used to moving around, if you will. But at that time, I was out of the military and I was back home in Miami. And, my family say, in a heartbeat, when I get something in my head and I'm stuck to it, that's what I do. So I decided I wanted to leave and, start a new life somewhere else. And, this was the place that spoke to me.
Absolutely. And not only working to protect, you've been a veteran to protect America. Because listen, I heard politicians talking about being, patriotic, but I do believe that the people that put their life in their life online to protect America, those are the real ones. And
Right.
sometimes it goes, it's crazy when you hear, people in the highest office, name calling, disrespecting our people that fight and to protect us. It's so unfortunate. I think we're gonna get into this, all of this. You here to kind of tell us a little bit about this. You're a business professional, you are a realtor, and you also belong to a committee of realtor. And tell us a little bit how you get to that point. Came from Florida, came up here. It looks like you're doing great stuff. You've been sitting on
Yeah.
a many committee, political committee,
Yes. Yes.
business committee. Can you tell us a little bit of that?
So initially, what brought me to the DMV area was I got hired with FEMA. I was an emergency manager um, at the National Immigration Center. So that was what brought me to the area. But I found my calling elsewhere, and it was real estate actually. And it was something that I never thought that I would be doing because I was never into sales. My first job, I was working at Just Her Feet, and it's kind of like a Nike store. And it was very interesting to say the least. I found it challenging to do sales. So when I began to sell homes, it was a different experience. And I realized that I was helping people. I was helping people to start like the next chapter in their lives. I was helping people to build, generational wealth because for, African Americans and minorities, that's predominantly where we were able to get our success from was from being able to own a home, when we weren't red line and, facing other obstacles, but they were able to use those finances in order to generate businesses and different things else. So that's kind of what's been holding me on to real estate. I've had a double-edged way of being able to help others and help myself.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that impressed me when knowing you. First of all, I remember you helped trying to help me to buy a house. I
Yeah,
will be back again, trying to use your experience to help me out in this
undoubtedly.
area. So it's your ability to be flexible.
Hmm.
You were a veteran. You're Air Force veteran. And not only that, I see you almost everywhere. And when it comes to social justice issues, so you're marching downtown Washington D.C. to demand equal justice for everybody. So your passion, where does that come from? Can you tell me a little bit? What makes you so diverse in terms of your ability to be versatile? You can
You,
go everywhere. You can do almost everything.
one thing that I believe that we as people have to be as diverse and malleable, and having that military background experience and being able to be around diverse crowds, it kind of helped me out, and gave me different ideas and different ways to do things. And it made everything relatable, because we're all the same. We always try to find things to distinguish ourselves and differentiate ourselves, but at the core of it, we are all still people. And what led me into social justice and doing things where I've always had a sense of, helping my neighbor, per se. But it was growing up with my grandmother, and seeing the struggle that she went through. My grandmother was a homeowner, her home was paid off. But she relied on Social Security in the end because, whether people realize it or not, some of the jobs that that were afforded to them weren't anything high end. It was maid service, it was hospitality, it was working at a cleaners or secretary work and different things like that. So and savings was definitely difficult and hard. But as my grandmother got in age and trying to distinguish between paying for you know um, her prescriptions or other items, and what Humana would or would not pay for it or different stuff like that, I started seeing things that trickled back to me and made it more relatable. Because not just that, but when I realized that voting for the sheriff and the judges in my community really impacted and affected not just myself but others around me, I said, well, hey, this is something important that I really need to be engaged and involved in.
Listen, I want to remind our viewers that this is a live show, but we can see what your comments. If you have a question, direct question to our guest, Mr. Sherman Hardy. Is a good man. Please feel free to, post your question. He will be able to answer your question because, you being in a real estate business for how long?
Since 2013, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So you have a lot of experience, and when I was looking for a house, I came to you, so I know what you're capable of. So anything related to buying a house, please feel free. But Mr. Artie is not just that. It's more than just a realtor. You want to add something to that?
Yeah, if one thing that we've learned from this pandemic and anything else in life, it's your zip code. Your zip code does matter. But at the base of it, I believe that we all need to strive towards homeownership. It isn't just an American dream. It's a dream that for all, families should have because it creates the sustainability that many people need. And yes, there are hard times and yes, things come, but there's more protections for homeowners as we see than there are renters right now. So we have to get in the mindset, and then you also want to be able to pass something along to your generations and stuff like that, and that's how you create wealth. It's one of the best investments that somebody can actually do. That's more attainable than not.
Yeah, but that reality, I wonder if it's still applicable with this new administration and all these laws, and I hope you can even clarify for that, because the black community, through history, we've been going through so much in terms of access to housing. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
take you to the redlining and all kind of stuff. I don't know if this you being inside that industry, how
Well,
that
there
going
wasn't an
to
industry within the real estate field that didn't discriminate against African Americans at one point. You had the homeowners associations, you had the civic associations, you had legislation. It was, from the top down, so we are back in the space where homeownership has been lower now than it was back then for African Americans. So this is something that we have to change. And, this comes into policies as well. And this is a holistic approach that we need to start looking into. Yes, homeownership has been a little harder, and we see, even during the crisis in the pandemic, where there were celebrities that came out and said that realtors don't show us all the homes, that are available to them, and I find that disheartening because you know we don't discriminate. For me, I don't care if you're black, brown, blue, yellow, green, I'm here to help you, one way or another. This is, what I'm here for. And I think that we all need to take that approach. But, piece by piece, we're striving to get better and to give, the realtor name a better name and to uphold what it is to truly be a realtor. Um, but with that same breath, I am fighting on the back end in order to ensure that we begin to highlight these disparities and work with our local, state, and business partners in order to create something that will increase home ownership for Black and brown people.
absolutely. The home ownership has been in America the creator of wealth, of equity. People send the kids to school using the equity
Right,
in their housing, and it's always been a very controversial issue in terms of people of African descent not having the same access to home ownership. In Maryland, I don't hear that a lot. You being from in the system or from that industry. Have you
right.
ever heard any complaint, since you've been here from Florida, about people not, like you see the celebrity talking about them not even at their level. They're still
Mhm.
people with money. They
Right,
pretty much can buy everything. If
hmm
some property or being hiding
right,
for them, how much somebody who actually don't have the kind of resources that a celebrity have, it's a very complex issue. And
right.
as a
Yeah,
realtor, you can go and show me housing, but the fact of the matter is it's not showing. It's
Hmm.
the when you put your signature that you became an owner, that is the issue. But some of the, I don't know if this is the laws or this is from the realtors themselves, that the complication will really come to be a problem for African American. Is there any laws that tells you as a realtor not to shows a part of the town or some housing to
Oh
African American?
no, no, there are absolutely no laws. Actually, you can lose your license or face high penalties for doing something of that. You can be prosecuted through fair housing for not, showing certain people certain houses. Um, as a matter of fact, I sat on the grievance committee for Prince George's County Association of Realtors, and thankfully, we've never seen a case like this, at least during my tenure as being on the grievance committee. But if there was such a case, we would definitely forward that up to whomever it needs to be in order for that to be remedied because we don't discriminate.
Okay, I think we're gonna continue to push on that because in the end, we our people want to know exactly what it takes, beyond just having a good credit, what it takes
Mhm.
to be a homeowner, and that is going to be coming up. We're going to take just a quick break. When we come back, you will tell us a little bit about what it takes, what people who already think about this or maybe ready to buy a house, what do they need to have or provide in order for them to become a homeowner. That will be in the next second. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue to talk about how you can become a homeowner.
Look, leading can be tough, and leading without support, limited resources, and inexperienced team, all while managing work life balance, is even tougher. This is an exclusive opportunity for you to take full advantage of my years of leadership experience and glean from my mentors and all the work that I've done, the learning, the trials, the error, and the growth. You're joining an ecosystem of believers, leaders, thinkers, and doers who are here to support your dreams, celebrate your wins, and encourage your success.
Okay, welcome back. We have Sherman Hardy. He's a business professional, social justice advocate, somebody who actually is working on all fronts to make sure that we have an equal society where people have the same access to the American dream. Welcome back, my brother. Tell
Thank
us a
you.
little bit. What do anybody needs, black, white, Latino, needs to become a home owner?
Well, you definitely have to have the vision to put it out there into the universe and have it come back. Most people don't even realize that they do that. A lot of times we look at something and say, "Oh, that's really nice. I wish I can have that." And that is sending that out there, and it's saying, and when it comes back, you can't be afraid of it because a lot of times that's what people do. But in order to get your approvals and stuff like that to move forward to actually obtain those goals, those life goals, you have to have the credit profile that the particular lender is looking for. And I say it that way because, there are lenders out there who do different, scorings. Each lender does their separate kind of thing. There are some that require 640, some that require 620s, some that goes down to 500. It really depends on the loan product and your financial situation as well. Which brings me to the next thing. Your debt to income ratio is as important to your credit, as anything else, because a lot of people think that, oh, well, Credit Karma says I have a 640, 660 or something like that. I can get approved. Well, yeah, you can get approved, but it's for how much. And that's the other kicker, what people don't realize that the less debt that you have or the less that you owe, the more that you're able to actually, be able to purchase on the home ownership side.
Wow. I mean, that's good to know, though. But people do pay rents. People pay rents all the time. I don't know why, honing. a house is so complicated. Everybody
I
should
know
be
we talk
involved.
about that as well. If you're able to afford rent, you should be able to afford a mortgage. And, that's what we all believe. But, lending policies dictate otherwise. And that's something that, as a community, we need to start getting involved in as well. This
Yeah.
does impact us one way or another, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. You go to school, while you're still in college, you see all this, a company, credit card company that come to
Mm.
you and trying to convince you to get, your credit, and you're so young and foolish, you will take those credit and messed up,
Hmm.
and little that you know that, you'll be in trouble later on, and you want to apply for something now your credit is messed
Hmm.
up. But that doesn't
Yeah,
actually mean that you're a bad person though.
right.
If somebody been renting and have a history of paying rent on time, and sometimes the money that you pay for the rent is higher than the possible mortgage that you can have,
Exactly.
we
And
shouldn't
typically
give
it
that
is.
kind of
The
people
rent
credit.
is right now too high. We know that um, interest rates are going down. So the principal interest on the home is actually going down because of that. But we also see on the flip side that there's going to be a lot of more demand for rentals. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of evictions, coming up, or going through the process right now. Unfortunately, even as we are in one of the most viral and deadliest, strains that we've seen in recent times, people are still being put out of their homes to become homeless, and the rents are going to go up because that's exactly what a lot of them are doing. They're waiting to get rid of a lot of these tenants because they're going to increase the price and do a couple of light renovations or painting or whatnot, and home ownership is definitely going to be a lot cheaper than renting.
Yeah, that's good news though. I look forward for it, because we really and those realtor agency have to do a little bit more as well in terms of education, because you say something very important. People scared, you want to own a house, you don't know the process, and you just don't do it, and you can do
Mhm.
renting. But I think you are on your side have to create some venues where people can come and learn on how to on a house, because
You
this
have
stuff.
to really be open to looking for it because a lot of realtors do have home ownership seminars. They post them on Evite, they post them on Facebook, events and stuff like that. There are quite a few, but if anyone is interested in learning the home ownership process, they can look up a housing counseling agency as well. Look up Hope Community here in Prince George's County and a few others around the state of Maryland, and they do provide you with a great wealth of information pertaining to how to become a homeowner. And they can reach out to me as well. I can go into depth as or email them my home buyer's guide. It's very comprehensive.
Absolutely. Now you know what we talked about we talked about some other policies that used to be disadvantage to us, but now the secretary of housing is a black man. It's African
Mhm.
American. How does that impact the fact that that will possibly increase or create leverage, maybe to close the gap? Do you feel any improvement in terms of home ownership since the Mr. Carson being
Well,
in
first we have to ask ourselves: is he qualified? That's the first thing that we need to figure out to determine what kind of policies or how effective he's going to be in that position. I don't believe him to have the exponential knowledge that he would need, that one would need in order to fulfill that position. It was, I can't remember the exact thing. It was about a program through under that his administration or section stirs, and he had no idea what it was or how to pronounce it. So, but that's besides the point. Um, to answer your question, I think that it would be, someone would think that an African American male heading one of the departments would look out for minorities and African Americans. But we also have to realize that that institution also heads for everybody. But that doesn't mean that they can't create a program in order to ensure that a segment of people are who aren't receiving the benefits that they should, or the aid and assistance, couldn't revamp the program, revitalize it to aid them, but everyone. And I think that's what we fall short with policies, because we're always thinking about, well, which group can we help the most, or who needs it the most, where everybody needs the help.
Absolutely. No, we are heading toward this kind of realization that just because somebody look like you, it doesn't mean that he's going to fight for your interest. Just
Right.
because somebody is a Democrat or
Hmm.
Republican, it doesn't mean
Right.
anything at this point. We have to judge people based on what they're capable of doing
Hmm.
and what they've been advocates
Right.
all their lives. We have to, look people and judge them based on their actions because it seems to me that it means nothing. Whether you're Democrats or Republican, it's just,
Hmm.
it's just a team, political
It
team.
should be people over politics. That's what
Yeah,
it should
over
be at the
politics.
basis of it. Yeah.
That's what it is. And no wonder, sometimes you see people, siding behind this president that we have. He talk a lot of trash stuff, but you still people see, still siding behind him because it seems to also, although he lie a lot, but it seems to do some stuff that he says he's gonna do.
Right.
There's some
Yeah.
action that he says he's gonna do, and he stood for it. It did it. He had the gut to just go on and defend what he did believe, versus some of the politicians we've been having talking beautifully, and then when it comes to delivery, we don't see enough of it. So the way you look doesn't mean anything to me. I want you to show me what you're capable of doing. And
Right.
Ben Carson being the one of the example. After all of this, the history between home ownership and the African American community, you name it, redlining, not having access to all of these housing, that you know what I'm talking about. But
Right.
now that you have
That's scary.
somebody who's supposed to be sensitive and understanding that history and say, listen, this is an opportunity for us to correct the wrongdoing of history and give access to more people to get access to the American dream.
I
Um,
mean, I know a lot of people know who the old Ben Carson was, but I don't think people realize who the new Ben Carson is in the Trump administration, because he has come out several times within the opposition of things that would better our community. They're actually stripping away a lot of the fair housing rights now, and then they keep using these dog whistles talking about suburban communities. So this is the thing that we have to understand, that, like you say, just because someone looks like us, or like you or whomever, doesn't mean that they're going to advocate for the best interest. A lot of people have become selfish and about me.
Absolutely not, brother. Listen, it's I'm gonna remind people, this is somebody you need to talk to, because Sherman knows stuff from the historical perspective. He understands the issues. He's a social and justice advocate. And if you have somebody who can fight on your side, is you. And my brother, you of the same year, you and me were running for office, and then you withdrew. I never understood, and I'm so sorry that I have to ask you this on the show. But you once you were so tired of people running the show, you wanted to do it yourself.
Mhm.
You tried to run for office. That was 2018, right? Same year that I
Yes.
was also running for office.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I didn't win. But we just have to start running for offices for ourselves to try to correct those
Yeah.
issues. So what was the issue? You were there, and then you didn't make it to the end. You
Mhm.
just withdrew from it. What was that? What was the problem?
Well, actually, I did go through the end. I was running. I switched over from District 9 and County Council, and I began to run for delegate for District 25. And I ran the best race that I could. I was able to get out into the community and meet a whole lot of people that I've never had the opportunity to meet to begin with. Um, and I made some new relationships. And I believe that, wherever my path leads me, that those people are going to be there with me and support me in any of the endeavors that I attempt to do, in the future.
And that experience really opened your eyes on
Yeah.
on the game of politics, right?
Yeah, it definitely did. Behind the scenes as well as, in the forefront. And I will say one of the most disheartening things that I've seen, and I think that we as community leaders need to do a better job of doing, is educating our community on some of the policies and different things that are going on in our community. And the voting process. And I think our central committees need to be more involved in that process because there were
Yep.
so many people who had no idea why we were voting. We're in the gubernatorial elections and primaries, and they're asking is it time to vote for the president? Or, who or, what are we voting for? Who are these people? Up until they actually get into the polling place. And that's frightening. I'm not saying that everybody has to be so astute on each and every candidate and, their policies, but put forth some fortitude. So I'm hoping that that's something that we all can do is begin to address those things first, because the average regular person is too busy, and to them politics is too fast paced. So we have to
Yeah.
break it down and start trying to explain them why this is important and why local politics is actually more important than the presidential election.
Local politics is everything, my brother. Listen, we're already in that section, in the political portion of the show. We're gonna take another quick break, and we'll come back. Definitely, we're gonna open up this can of worms and talk about everything from the debate, presidential debate, to the vice presidential debate yesterday.
Yes.
So just a quick break, and when we come back, Mr. Harvey is gonna tell us about what he thinks about all of the debate and what's going on in the country as far as politics is concerned.
Vous souhaitez acheter ou vendre un véhicule prochainement? Si c'est le cas, vous êtes au bon endroit. Nous
Financial stress is hard on everyone. Your family, your children, your entire life can be affected. With constant harassing calls from creditors serving as a constant reminder of your financial crisis, it may be time to take action. Let our bankruptcy attorneys guide you every step of the way in getting your life back on track and getting rid of those harassing creditors. Contact one of our friendly staff now to set up a free, no obligation consultation to help find out if bankruptcy is the right choice for you and your family. We've helped dozens of clients complete the bankruptcy process, and our experienced team can answer any questions you may have along the way. So don't wait. Contact us now. You'll be glad you did.
Well, welcome again, my brother Sherman, politician, activist, and a businessman, also a realtor, one of the best realtor in town. Please, if you want to buy a house, you have to talk to this gentleman. You remember the time that you took me around? It was hot, but I can see
Yes.
that you were patient. You took me and my family around and looking for housing, and it was a very very hard time, and you were there patient. You took all the questions, and you couldn't get tired.
Yeah, we
So
have to educate you all in the process on it.
no, we do need some more education, and especially for new buyers, first buyers. They really need to know a lot about that. So,
Wow.
as I promised, we like to dive into politics. There's nothing we can do without it.
Absolutely nothing.
Politics is just you will never, especially living in America. There's no way you can escape from it.
Mhm.
Now, we this is yesterday was a second debate. The first one was a presidential one, and everybody was screaming, yelling. I mean, what was your impression on that presidential debate?
It
Do you
was
think?
abhorrent. It was terrible. And I don't think everybody was yelling and screaming. I think it was just one person, but the magnitude of it kind of gave you the impression that it was more than just one person.
My goodness. Wow. And so, you know, if you're Democrats, you'll be complaining about how the President Bush, Trump was, you know, couldn't let, Biden say a word, where he was disrespectful. But if you look closely, it seems that both ways, because at one point, Biden couldn't, take it anymore because there was some name calling on his
Right,
side as well.
right.
It was a total mess.
I mean, it went exactly as I expected. Uncle Joe was going to do what Uncle Joe was going to do, and Trump was going to be Trump. I mean, legit was exactly how I expected to go down. Trump was going to talk the entire time. Biden was going to try to look presidential and interject in between. But one thing I was glad that he was able to do is actually talk about his policies. You have to distinguish between the two and what was going on. It was, you know, as they say, a shit show.
Yeah. It's amazing. But do you think, regardless of this, disruption and name calling, do you think Joe Biden were able to do what he came to do? To talk to American people, because at one point he really looked at the American people. He was telling them that this is not the right person to keep in power,
Right.
and he was the man. You think he really delivered that message quite clear and
I think
concise?
the best thing that he was able to do was to connect with the American people. Biden sat down in your living room with you, and he was trying to say that it's going to be okay. That we face adversities, but we come out better at the end of it. This is the first time, and this too shall pass. You know, it was very difficult in the moment to even do that because you still had the president of the United States of America acting like he's in his terrible twos.
It's
It was deplorable. I could not imagine that this is the person that America wants to lead them.
but the president being a equal opportunity kind of a leader, though. This is a president who made a mockery of a gold star family as a veteran. What do you think about this
Yeah.
president? You know,
Well, honestly, I don't even want to attack the man's character at this point. I don't think he is owed that because that's what everybody's expecting, and that's why a lot of people tuned in. We need to attack him on his policies because there's nothing that he said to the American people that was resounding or would make to me that would make me want to vote for him. And granted, of course, I'm a true Democrat, but if I was ever in the process of thinking of leaning any other way, there was nothing he said that spoke to me as an African American male.
yeah, but to be honest, my expectation was that Biden on the pandemic issue. I was thinking he could have hammered down the president more effectively, because the president failure to manage the pandemic properly, by downplaying how dangerous this pandemic is. I mean, month. It's been maybe 7 months. This health crisis, and the president continue. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you heard this. It was when he got out of a water raid, he was talking about him being blessed to have this. That
Yeah.
he was blessed to have this. I don't know what he mean by that, but if he blessed to have this pandemic, nobody have this kind of access, presidential access to medical care. So that's why I was expecting Biden to do a little bit more to explain to American people that this is it's always about Trump himself. He doesn't care about American people. What are your take on that?
Well, quite frankly, I don't think Biden has to do anything more to tell the American people how reckless the president of the United States is. Um, we see he was trying to have a debate and rallies outside of that. The president of the United States had a COVID parade when he should have been in the hospital. He's trying to project strength, but he's really showing weakness.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right now, I think Biden is in a position where he doesn't need to do anything else but talk to his base and try to grow it, because the president is he's showing himself, at this point. As Nancy Pelosi said, I wonder if he still has it, the mental capacity to even, hold the office that he has right now. Maybe the meds are affecting his brain.
During the debate, something that a lot of people still wondering his message when challenged. They asked him to try and distance himself from those so-called what's they calling him, Proud Boy.
Antifa and Bad
Yeah,
Boys and
yeah, yeah,
all the different, yeah.
yeah. His answer was stand back and stand by, and you being somebody in the military, you have that background. When a commander in chief or general tell you stand back and stand by, what is your interpretation of that?
Well, quite frankly, stand by is a preparatory command. And that's what we learned in the military. You have your preparatory and your executory commands. So by him telling them to stand by, they're waiting for the actions next. And for me, I'm wondering, what are we standing by for?
Hmm.
That's the question that we need to be trying to determine. But the president has had multiple opportunities. The president sits up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning and is tweeting. He has 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year, and not once has he ever disassociated himself from any kind of racist or sexist, xenophobic marks, or any of those groups. So he has ample opportunities, but he choose not to, and instead he incites more extremist views and fear, and they're telling them to what? Stand by.
I
For what?
mean, it's for what? I mean, this is not like you addressing, in an issue, of America versus another country. This is American people. What
Yeah.
do you
And
mean
as
by
you
stand
see,
by?
the governor, there was a plot to kidnap the governor. So you're wondering now, well, how many of these cells are standing by, and what are they standing by for? How are they connected? Because you know I can't say this for sure, and this is unverified, but I feel like this is going to come back and tie to Trump.
Yeah.
They're going to be somebody that says, "Oh, well, I believe with Trump in purifying this or immigration or whatever the third is going to all come back."
And also, at the beginning of this pandemic, Sherman, me being from originally from Africa, there was some people was talking. They were talking about Africa is going to be the worst place to control this pandemic in terms of lack of resources and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. 7 years, 7 months later, it looks like African nations are doing better than Europe and better than the United States. Now you see the president of the United States having all of these resources to his disposal and still cannot honestly put American people in a position of confidence. I mean, isn't it? Isn't it? Is this go beyond just us trying to say some mean words toward the president, or this just like a competence? If you have all of this, America is a superpower. You have all of this resource to your disposal, but yet you cannot do the job. So what
Yeah.
else can we really say to American people about what kind of a situation we are in?
I don't think it's incompetence. It's a slight, bit of it in there, but for the most part, I just don't think he cares.
Hmm.
To be quite frank, at his disposal, he has a wealth of resources. The president was able to enact laws in order to force corporations to mass produce certain, items that we would have needed for this recovery, and he didn't. You know, the president also says that there will be no aid packages until after the election. So when
I
you
was
think
very
about it
clear.
all, he doesn't care.
Really doesn't care. in order to get. Listen, it's, this show is usually 45 minutes. I cannot
It
put.
is what it is.
It is what it is. Listen, Sherman, this is already 45 minutes. I was thinking, first 45 minutes was a lot of time, and with you being here, you are a force of nature, a force for good. I see what you've been doing socially, business wise. Your advocacy is something that not to be ignored. I will wish for you to run again because we need people who actually care about people. We need leaders that care about people, that do the right thing. And all of us have to be more engaged. We have to go beyond just doing what we do, go beyond and demand more for our communities as a whole. I don't know if you have a last word to say. I'm gonna give you some time to just say whatever you want to say because we are going to toward the end of this show. It's been 45 minutes.
Yeah, and in closing, I truly thank you for your kind words. If there's something that I can leave with the viewers who are watching this is, I'm just Sherman. I'm just the average regular person who is trying to do for everybody and try to make sure that we all, succeed because, we can't leave anybody back or behind. But if there's one thing that I want to do is just influence people to get involved and be engaged. You don't have to do it nonstop, but have a sense of awareness of what's going around you because you're lending the government money. So shouldn't you have a say in what they're going to do with it? Because if I ask a lot of you all for, some money, you want to know what I'm going to do with it or why I need to borrow it. So the government is borrowing your money. Be involved and invested into that part of it and buy a home.
Absolutely, absolutely. Buy a home. We want to thank. Well, I want to use this time to just thank our promoters, people who actually understand that this show is very important for us to continue to give people like you a voice, a platform where you can talk to our community, and the more we know, the better we do. So
Yeah,
thank you again, my brother, and I look forward to speak with you again. Don't be a stranger. Come back whenever you want. We want your perspective, especially in politics. Feel free to come back and give us your perspective, how you think about
absolutely.
what's going on in our, social discourse. Thank you so much, and take
All
care.
right. Have a great one. Bye.
Yeah. Okay, so that concludes our show for today. Thank you again, Sherman, to stopping by, talk to us about not only what you do but also the politics. Today it's a crazy time we're living. COVID, and just when we expect our um, you know stimulus to come by, the president says he has to be elected before he allowed anything to happen. So we're gonna continue to expect that to happen for people. Okay, so for the viewers here in the United States, Europe, and Africa, thank you again for tuning in. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, people who help us to stay in the business. And we are looking forward to speak with you another time.
Welcome to Igniting Champions of Change. The Igniters Institute supports individuals, teams, and small businesses in resolving complex personal and professional matters while developing strategies that advance goals and create viable solutions. Coaching that transforms and realigns your life and career, yielding immediate success. 8 effective web-based and live leadership development training modules designed to amplify individuals and teams. Business consulting designed to build engaged individuals, cohesive teams, and successful companies. Feel free to call one of our friendly staff now to arrange a free, no-obligation consultation to discuss your personal or business needs. We look forward to working with you.